Yeah, so I wanted to talk a little bit about continuity, paying attention to small moments, particularly in everyday life, in our daily activities, and the moments in between doing things. To have continuity of awareness. I mean, this is really obvious, but I'm going to say it anyway. We need more than the moments of formal practice that we do. Maybe it's a 40-minute practice. Maybe you're in a phase where you're doing more, perhaps a couple of hours a day of formal meditation. But that in itself won't create enough continuity of awareness um, for what this practice needs, if you like. So we need continuity in this practice. We have a very light awareness rather than a depth of concentration. And that light awareness to have an effect needs to be sustained off the cushion through our daily activities. And when it's sustained, when that light quality of awareness, which has a light samadhi quality to it as well, when that's sustained, it allows the mind to make connections over time, to see things in a way that it wouldn't usually have access to. So when we have continuity of awareness and right view, then we've set up the conditions for wisdom. We don't know how that will manifest or quite when it will manifest, but we're setting up conditions that are helpful for seeing more clearly and more deeply. So I have a question which I've been asking myself, and I think it's a good question to ask every now and again. Do I really believe that it matters if I have continuity of awareness or not? Do I really believe that? Because yes, I've been doing this practice a long time, and it goes through its ups and downs and its phases. But I think it's useful to say, do I really think that having a continuity of awareness is important for the aims of the practice, in particular for seeing more clearly and more wisdom? So I invite you to at some point ask yourselves that question, maybe more than once. I think it's something that you can ask quite regularly. And it doesn't matter if you get a no. If the mind says no, no, I don't. It's good to find out what the mind honestly thinks about something, rather than just going along with an idea about what's good. Okay, I know it's important. Continuity is important, but finding out, yeah, what the mind really thinks, and then you can examine that thought or that belief or what it is that the mind says. Okay, so the mind says no. Knowing that simply as a thought or a belief in the mind is quite helpful. We think a lot of things that aren't that helpful and aren't true. So we can examine that particular thought or belief in the light of a bigger truth, if you like, or what's something that is in line with our values. So just because we get a sort of no, I don't think that's true, or something that slightly fudges it, we don't have to sort of believe what the mind says, if you like. We can set a different course for the mind. You can think, actually, no, I do want to cultivate a quality of awareness that's sustainable throughout the day. And once you come to that, you can set up conditions to do that. Dropping in intentions is, I think, really helpful. So again, there doesn't have to be a sort of strong belief, but just a desire to try it out and drop in that recommit to awareness in this moment when the mind remembers, when the mind is awake to it. So if you want to develop the habit of awareness through your life and not just confined to meditation and whatever sort of naturally spills out from meditation, then there will be some, then drop in that intention. That whenever you remember, drop in the intention to be aware, at least in this moment, and maybe the next few moments. And let there be more times where, if you like, awareness sort of spreads or it sort of spills over into different parts of your life. I think one thing I find helpful is to notice, commit to noticing when awareness hasn't been present. You know, what are those moments or those activities when you think, oh, awareness hasn't been present. And actually just in that noticing, then of course, awareness is there. Mindfulness is present in the moment. But it can be helpful to identify which perhaps times of the day when you feel like awareness is lower, what particular activities, you know, maybe it's watching a bit of TV in the evening and you think, oh, right, no, I just wasn't really present or aware in that. Sometimes I find it's when I'm rushing to get through something. There's an idea in the mind that I don't really like doing this. It's not, you know, it's just not something I want to be doing. And therefore, I'm caught up in that thought about the experience and not with the experience. I used to find it a bit with washing up. But now, in the last year or so, we've had a dishwasher, and I find it's just the same with the dishwasher. There's a sort of slight resentment that it needs emptying in the morning when I want to have my breakfast. So just really useful to notice those things, and then once they're noticed, we're not identified with them in the same way, and they can even be enjoyable. One of the things I've noticed myself, that sort of thinking, oh, it's that again, I've got to do that again, is watering the garden. And actually, it's a real privilege having a garden, you know, having cultivated it a bit over lockdown, and it's a lovely space to be in. So actually, it's a really lovely time to be aware, standing out there with the hose or the watering can or whatever it is. So routine tasks, rushing, what is it for you? Just noticing those moments. And by committing to noticing, you increase continuity of awareness. It's good, of course, to notice the times when you are particularly present, when awareness feels good. I think, oh yeah, I'm consistently aware during these times, these periods, and that may be more times than you're not consistently aware. So yeah, that can bring a lot of appreciation and confidence to the mind. One last thing. So I think playing with this is really helpful, like setting yourself perhaps areas where extending the practice or expanding the times when you're aware. And some of you will have heard me quote Sayadaw U Pandita, who is a very fierce Burmese meditation master. And he would say, are you aware of the first breath when you wake up in the morning? And what's the last breath or the last thing that you're aware of before you go to sleep? And actually, it's just fun. It's just fun to sort of play with the practice in that way and think, oh God, no, that seems impossible. But actually, what happens? What happens when it might actually condition more likelihood of awareness in those early moments? And then you have the satisfaction of thinking, oh, I did it. I was aware, you know, really soon after I woke up in the morning, or yeah, I remember those moments just before the mind sort of went unconscious. So yeah, playing with that.